There we go. Behind me, 2014 Chevy Sonic, we're gonna be replacing the valve cover and gasket. This is a pretty easy DIY repair. Let's get started. This valve cover is getting replaced because it has a gasket leak in the back. Even though they sell the gasket separately, because these valve covers have an integrated PCV system that fail quite often, we're gonna go ahead and replace the whole cover since we have it off anyway. That'll save us money in the future. Pull this little cover off, just pop up. We can disconnect our coil pack. Now there should be a purple tab that you pull out. This tab is broken, so I'm just gonna take a little pick, pull from the front. There we go, let me zoom in for you. We have this purple tab here. When it's pushed all the way in, we can't unlock the tab. But by removing this, just pulling it back, now you should have a little spot here that you can pull from, but if you don't, because it's broke like mine, now we can push this down and pull this whole connector off, in theory. Let me do it two hands. So we should be able to just pinch and pull. If you need a little help, we can get on the front of this little tab here and just pull up a little more. There we go. And that pulls right off. Now our ignition coil pack is a T30. So we'll buzz that off. And if you notice on our valve cover, they have inverted torques. That's an E10. If you get this kit, it'll have both standard torques and inverted torques, everything you need. But if you don't have this, an 8mm standard 6-point socket will work. But if you do have it, it's an E10 and a T30. This whole pack should come out. And you just have to wiggle it side to side. There we go. There we go. Now if a boot falls off, oh, there goes my bolt. Now if a boot falls off, this cylinder number 1 fell off. These are all on. No big deal. We can pop it off our spark plug and just put it right back on. Let me aim you around and show you how to do that. And you should be able to get to it with a standard pair of pliers or a needle nose. We just grab on the edge of the boot, slowly wiggle up one corner. We'll do it to the other corner. There we go. And it just pops right out. Now we'll take this and insert it into our coil pack. Now with our coil pack, there is a little center electrode. We want to make sure it gets centered up right inside this plastic. And we just slide it on, just like that. Nothing to it. Set that aside. Now we don't have to mess with our spark plugs unless you just feel like it's time to replace them. But these plugs have plenty of life left, so we're just gonna leave them alone. Now this is our integrated PCV valve, this little circular piece right here. That fails quite often. When we get a new valve cover, it comes with a new gasket. We can pop our harness off in the back, just pull up on it. As long as it can be separated, that's good enough. This retainer here, you follow it back with your finger, and you can feel a little tab back there. You wanna pull that tab up, and then I'll pop it off of there, and then we'll get it out of this little channel on the side here. And that's it, just out of the way. And let me show you in the back, there's 2 electrical connectors we wanna unplug. We wanna unplug this electrical connector here. There's a little gray tab. We'll pull that tab out. There we go. And then it'll be a pinch and pull. I'll get that with 2 hands. And then this one back here, I believe, has the same thing, but on the other side, on this back side, it has a little gray tab. Pull that out, pinch and pull. We wanna get both of these connectors off. There we go, there's one. I'll get this back one. Okay, so those 2 are released. So let me show you the top of here. There's 2 little tabs you want to push in this direction to release this wiring harness from our valve cover. So right in here and right in here, there's a little tab we want to push towards our air filter box. You'll see it in there. We just want to push. Might require a little effort, but push enough, and then this should separate and come up. Let me show you on the new valve cover what we're releasing from. What we're trying to do is release that retainer from these little slots here. So by pulling that tab towards the air filter box, we release it from these little grooves here. And that's it. So let's do that, pull over. Might take a little bit of pushing to get it to come off. There we go, that one. And then this one, perfect. Now we just set it off to the side just so it's out of the way. All right, that's it. We can pull our dipstick out. And now all our fasteners. Again, E10 or 8mm. All right, that's it, we'll pull up. Might be stuck a little. Let me get a little hammer. A little rubber mallet just to break that seal. There we go. Now we should be able to pull up. Okay, some of these are still there we go. We'll just make sure we clear all our wiring. This one locked back up on us. Pull that up, okay. There we go. Peel off our gasket. We'll take a clean rag, wipe off our surface. Now, it shouldn't need any kind of scraper because of the rubber gasket. Really doesn't leave much behind. Just a good wipe is all we need. Get in where the spark plugs go. Wipe all that really good. Nice. Now there are two spots right here and right here where the timing cover meets the head. There is some leftover RTV, so we'll go ahead and scrape that off. Then we'll take some brake clean. We'll spray it on a rag and then wipe that really good. We'll want to apply new RTV in those two spots. Just with a little plastic scraper, scrape that off. There we go. All right, a little brake clean on a rag. Just want a nice oil-free surface for our RTV to adhere to. Perfect. We're gonna take a little RTV, put it in our spot. It doesn't take a lot, just a dab, just over that seam. All right, let me show you what that looks like. So that's the dab right over the seam, and that's the other dab, and it's not very tall, just a little height, and just covering that little seam there. And that's it. Now we're ready to put on our valve cover. Now on our valve cover, we have those same two spots we want to wipe clean, right here, and then one right here. That's our mating surface for our RTV. We're just gonna take a little bit of brake clean, put it on a rag, and just wipe. Just in case there's any kind of oil, we want it to adhere really nicely. Make sure that our gasket is in the channel, just how it's supposed to, go around the whole thing. Make sure that it's set in. Now we'll flip it over, and we'll bring it right under our wiring harness. Make sure that our gasket doesn't snag on our camshaft and rip. Okay, just like that. Same with the front here. We'll just move our wiring harness around. We're hung up on something. There we go. Okay, now it sits. Now we'll just hand thread each one of these. We can use our extension and just get them started. Make sure they all go in. Now we'll snug them down starting in the middle and then working our way out. Now we'll torque them. We put our dipstick back in. What we want to do is just put it in enough to get oil on the stick, and then we'll take some of that oil, lubricate our O-rings, and then lubricate the top of our dipstick tube here. There we go. Put it in a couple of times, just make sure it goes in smoothly. Now we get a new O-ring for our oil cap that comes with the new valve cover. We'll just open that up, swap it out real quick. Just with an angled pick, we can pop off our old one. There we go. Just pop it off. Slide on our new one. There we go. We can do the same thing here, just lubricate it a little. We'll just use some of this oil. Just a little lubrication. There we go, rub it around. Perfect. Then we can put our ignition coil pack on. For that, we'll want a little dielectric grease. We're gonna put a little in each boot, just a little. Then we'll get that moved around and squished, moved around and squished. That'll help it slide on the spark plug easier and slide off easier in the future. Then we just slide it down and over till it bottoms out. Good enough. Snug them down. Not too tight, we can strip them out. We'll go ahead and torque them up. Plug that back in. We'll push in our purple tab. Get all our electrical connectors in their holder. We'll plug in these two back ones here. Push in our gray tab. All right, get this in its little holder. Perfect. I think that's it. Double check. Looking good. Last but not least, put this cover on. Perfect. Job complete. All right, that's it. Pretty straightforward repair. Now I do recommend getting the whole valve cover, even if it is just the gasket that's leaking. It'll save you time and headache in the future. But if you are trying to save money now, you can just replace the gasket. They sell those gaskets separately. Other than that, the only recommendation is spark plugs. You're right there. Depending on your mileage, depending on if they need it, it would be a repair of opportunity. I'll have a link in the description for all the parts and tools used in this repair. If you have any questions, comment down below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.